Well, this price of food keeps going up, and some households just can't afford to eat. The Pietermaritzburg Economic Justice and Dignity Group says meat and vegetable prices spiked dramatically this month. Mervyn Abrahams from the organization joins me now from our Durban studio. Mervyn, thanks a lot for joining us this morning. I mean, this is alarming, the fact that people now cannot afford to eat.
Yes, good morning to you and good morning to all your listeners. What our index shows is that our food basket, which contains 36 foods, has increased by about 93 Rand or 3% month on month from November to December, and around 127 Rand year on year, which is about 5.9%. And this has put households under immense pressure because of other economic factors.
I mean, we're talking about the fact that when we see this increase in food prices, it just means that furthermore, South Africa is in a lot of trouble when the economy is concerned, but this is directly hampering households, right? And when households are not able to eat, that says something about the state of society and where we could possibly be going.
Yes, it's about the state of society and it's about the economic policies that we have adopted as a country. It is not unexpected that prices, particularly vegetable prices, will increase in the KwaZulu-Natal and other parts of South Africa around December because of the seasonality and because of farmers just not having sufficient vegetables to bring to the market. What is, however, difficult and putting pressure on households is the fact that petrol prices have increased immensely over the past year, which has made transport very expensive. Electricity costs has also increased massively, and we now have the highest unemployment figures that the country has ever seen in the last quarter. So taking all of these together, it has put immense pressure on the households, and the households have to cut back on food, which is about the only household expenditure that households in fact control.
What is alarming, and I'm looking at these figures right now, Mervyn, and they're saying that month on month, the cost of the household food basket has increased by 93 Rand 45 cents. Every single month, your food basket is increasing by that amount. How can people even afford, especially when you take into consideration transportation costs, the cost of even getting to of education when it comes to those families that have got children? A household, running a household in a South African context is starting to become an expensive feat.
Yes, and it is up to the ingenuity, really, of many mothers in townships and informal settlements that keep their families going. Essentially, what we require in South Africa is required to stimulate economic demand. There is not enough money floating around in the South African economy, and because there is not sufficient demand, there is not sufficient job creation or manufacturing happening. And so it's in fact a global problem in South Africa that we need to look at the economic policies. But as you have mentioned about the struggle of households, we can see the results of households not able to eat effectively, and the results we see in the amount of stunting. About 25% of all our children under the age of 5 are stunted, which affects their cognitive ability, as well as the fact that the greatest cause of death amongst black African women today are communicable diseases, which has its roots in long-term undernutrition. And that's the price we are paying as a society.
And I think that is the price that we definitely need to wake up to now more than ever. Mervyn, we're going to have to leave it there for this morning. Thanks all for joining us and giving us some light in terms of how the figures are looking, especially when it comes to the rising food prices. And I think it's even a warning going into this festive season. Just be careful when you're buying. Don't overbuy and then be left short for particularly January. But